Good evening, everyone. I'm Drake. Welcome to Magical Coffee Hour here at Working Dragon Mystic. Hope everyone is having a fantastic weekend. We are live here on YouTube and on Rumble. We got a few people in the chat already. Great to see you all. We also got Madeline signed up for Tier 1. Thank you very much. Madeline, just so you do know, um, we are working on building a new community. You will see Immortal dropped a link to it. I think it's that first link there. YouTube has not been exactly working on the tiers that we have set up for some reason. Um, I am thankful for your support, but if you were looking for the full loadout community, it is at that other link, or you can find the link below this video as well. Um, it's only $10 a month for the whole thing. I know you signed up for tier 1. Those were actually supposed to be turned off. I don't know why they've been turned back on. I'm actually glad you signed up because now I can go look into that. Thank you. But if it wasn't that community you was looking at and you just wanting to support us here on YouTube, thank you for that as well. That's awesome. Always appreciate the support. Kenny, good to see you. Matthias, welcome. Aiden Bull, good to see you. Aylin, Thomas, a lot of people in here tonight. Claude, welcome. So, yeah, everyone, we are getting very close to finishing the transition with the new community. We have almost got all the current courses at the online school moved over to the new community that also has the integrated online school. So we're super happy about that. Off the top of my brain, if I'm not forgetting anything, which can happen, it's been a interesting weekend to say the least. I think all I have left to transfer is Dragon Magic 102 and the tarot course. For those paid supporters, it has been deemed the tarot course will be part of your paid supporter. So that will be another of the online school that supporters will have access to without having to purchase the course, so long as they are supporters, right? Still perfectly purchasable if you're not a supporter too, so don't worry about that. Okay, am I working now, people? Okay, it cut my feed, people. It full on cut my feed. Like there was no internet issues or anything because we're still over on Rumble, but it like cut me. I had to actually refresh, and when you refresh, they've added in a reconnect button that I was able to use. But um, yeah, no, it was fully froze. Um, okay, so what was the last thing I did before you all lost me? Anyways, like I was saying, we did have, we're almost done moving, transferring the community over, which I'm looking forward to. Um, oh God, man, you guys lost me really early. Yeah, the tarot class. The tarot class will be added to the supporters area. So if you are a paid supporter over at the Working Dragon Mystic community, um, specifically at our community, not a tier supporter here, because like I said, those were supposed to have been turned off. I don't know why they've suddenly been turned back on. That's a little weird for me. We're going to have to look into that. But we have a community now where we control it. We don't have to worry about people turning things off and on and all that crap. Um, it, all the supporters over there will have access to the tarot course for as long as there are supporters, they'll have access to it. And of course, you can still purchase the course at the community and have access to it. If you just want to purchase it as a one-time purchase, that's also perfectly fine. So yeah, I'm really proud of the community. It's been really active. It's been a lot of fun getting in there. We're still ironing out how we're doing a few things, but once the transition's over, and I'm hoping to get that done in like the next week or two, that's my goal. I'd love to get it done this week if something just happens and works out for me. I'd love it. But we're also going to start working on other things. Many of you enjoy the community live chats that I've been doing. We're going to be looking at doing some of the, we're continuing those. I don't know if we're going to do them 5 days a week. What I'm thinking I might end up doing is doing those 3 days a week. And then on the days off, I might do a supporter Zoom call chat thing. We'll see how we're going to do that, but we're going to tinker with that a little bit. But it's been a very popular thing, so we're going to keep that going. So yeah, that's been a lot of fun. All right. See, Thomas, best magic community out there. Well, thank you very much. We do our best. I'm actually pretty lucky to have some good admin helping out. And honestly, one of the best things I've seen in the last 2 weeks about the community, we're getting so active. Like people are asking questions, sharing information and research. And it's not just Drake, how do I do this? Or Drake, how do I do that? Or Drake, what about this? The community's engaging with each other and helping each other out, which that was what I really, really wanted in a community. Not that I don't love answering y'all's questions. Anyone in there knows I love answering questions. Even on my days off, I'm still going to jump in and try and answer questions because I enjoy it. But seeing the community actually help each other, that has been amazing. Keep that stuff up. Keep it going. And if you are in the community, share it with all your social media. Invite people who would be interested in learning and sharing the research by all means. Okay, we would love to have it. Let's see. All right. Anybody got any questions tonight? We done froze and got hicked up and all that, and I got the bits and bobbles of chitty chats out of the way. And for some reason, my mic is on camera. Get over there. We don't need you on camera. Why are you still on camera? What the bloody? There we go. Is he off camera? Now he's off camera. I don't know what his idea. He's just a show stealer for some reason tonight. All right. See, Thomas, also, I have a question. I saw a post on another forum stating that there was too much positivity. He was stating that most communities say good things about all entities, but some can be dangerous. What are your thoughts on this? My thoughts on this is, in a lot of ways, I'm not going to lie, there is definitely this sense of going around, this love and light fluffy bunny thing. Like it started way before recent. It really did. Like even back in the 90s, I saw fluffy bunny practitioners. Not going to lie. Everything's just wine and roses. Nothing goes wrong. Everything's fine. All positivity. Right? You see it. It is getting a little bit worse because originally it just started with like energy work and spell work. And, it has been gravitating to basically in any entity out there that you could possibly think of. Right? There are definitely some entities out there that can cause you some problems. Right? Even good entities can cause you problems. Let's look at the dragons. If you're not ready to deal with certain energy patterns, regardless of what the dragon's trying to help you with, I mean, they may mean you no harm. But if you're not willing to deal with the energy pattern, if you're not ready to deal with it, it could blow up in your face and cause harm, right? Very easy. In that case, yeah, I mean, I definitely do not recommend for that very reason. If you're unprepared, you jump and start working with high rulers and stuff like that. And in the community, we got a few people who have made that mistake, and they've come back with their problems and be like, okay, I should have listened. I was dumb. Okay, well, now you got to write it out. So there is sort of a problem there. But my argument to that is, and you can say this is my viewpoint as a dragon magic practitioner or just a rational human being. I don't care which one you want to take it as, okay? Take it either way. Don't care. But there is no such thing as pure positive and pure good or pure negative and pure evil. They just don't exist. In every entity out there, there's going to be both sides of the coin in some way. Now, it may be how we approach the entity, whether we approach it mindfully and responsibly, or if we approach it willy-nilly and stupidly, we might be the actual catalyst for the harm caused to ourselves. We may very well be. Or it could be we're working with something that we are not prepared to even attempt to poke or touch. We may not. So are all entities out there safe? I would say no. But I'd also say safety is a relative term. It is, because I can think of my group of friends alone, and where we are safe and where we are secure differs, right? I can go out in the woods with a backpack and I am safe. I am secure. I'm going to have me a good time. I'm going to be comfortable. I ain't going to have to worry about anything. At the same time, I got friends, they ain't never been in woods a day in their life. So the woods haven't changed. The woods didn't get evil. They didn't grow fangs and red eyes and but just sticking them out in the woods wouldn't be safe, right? It's you've got to understand there is context to all things. Now, if you are someone who believes in absolute good or absolute evil and you want to divide entities along that line, that's a perspective. And that is a perspective you are more than welcome to take. And a lot of communities will attempt to take that perspective for whatever reason. But you asked my opinion, and my opinion is that every entity out there has two sides of the same coin. I have never met an entity out there of absolute good that is incapable of anything negative or harmful. Even if it's them doing it because they may have a just reason for doing it, or if it's just human stupidity and what we did. Either way. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Hopefully, I didn't get cut off in that rant because that was a really good rant, I think. Are we allowed to send community link to those we trust? Yeah, you can send invite your friends to the community if you trust them. I've said it before. If you have people interested in this kind of stuff and you want to share the community with your friends, send it to your friends, send it to your dog, send it to your cat, even. I don't care. Put it on your social media. If you're proud of the community and you want to share it, go ahead. We're here. We're trying to grow, people. I've said before, we're trying to hit 50 supporters. If we can get 50 paid supporters, I got permission from the dragons to go into my private grimoires and actually start sharing some dragons and stuff I've not been allowed to share up until now. And I'm super, super, super excited to get to do that. And I would love to do that. And I'd love to do that quickly. So let's get there. So the best way to do it, is you guys word of mouth. Let people know it's a good community. It's worth it. Let them know about the supporter perks. Let them know about that stuff. That's how we're going to get there. And I got to say, we got a lot of supporter perks. I have supporters who didn't realize how many perks we have. That's probably my bad. I'm going to do better at making sure the perks are listed everywhere. And we're adding more perks even. There's a lot of things in the pipeline being discussed right now. So yes, you are absolutely allowed to share that. For the community. Let's see. What is this? Also, I'm going to ask about the question Malik was wondering about, so it will be in here live before the replayer. Oh, somewhere for okay, yeah. What was that? So, crap. I'm going to have to look at that again. Because I didn't memorize it because I thought they would be in here to ask it. So give me just 1 second to pull this up because yes, I did say I would answer in here for them. That would be in the general. Thank you, Scoob, by the way. Eden, appreciate that. Okay, here it is. Thanks for clearing those. Okay, so I answered the first part of it. The following part, well, the first half of it was, do dragons care about extremist or extremist style behavior? He did mention, do they care about political views? But I'll be honest, the multiverse basically does not care about human politics. They just view our choices, whether it's our health choices, our political choices, anything. It's a part of the human race's ability to either destroy itself or survive. So politics, they don't really care about. Now, the part that they do pay a bit more attention to is he asked about extremist personality types or behavior or groups and those kinds of things. And dragons are creatures that their entire purpose and existence is to maintain the balance of the multiverse, right? So they're going to maintain that balance. So if you're a dragon magic practitioner, your goal is to maintain the balance in yourself, in your life, and hopefully maintain that work on helping the balance throughout your life and the people you meet and stuff like that, right? So by that very definition, if you're diving into an extreme on anything, whether it's extreme eating, extreme video games, or if you're putting something, pushing it to an extreme, um, that can be very problematic because if you're pushing to an extreme, something's out of balance, right? It's out of balance. So they really do frown upon that in many ways. Um, Now, it is true that they do try to focus more on the individual, not groups. Straight up, they try to focus on the individual. Um, so let's see, another part in there he asked, what do they think about gangs and orders? Which I think that's the one I didn't manage to get answered because, yeah, right here he's, do they care much about occult orders or gangs, right? Now, both of these terms are used in a lot of different ways. Most of the time, at least in the US where I grew up, and I know a lot of people across the globe, when they use the term gangs, they're talking about criminal gangs that break laws and cause problems and, do bad things. If that's how you're using the term, well, yeah, dragons aren't exactly big on that. Dragons do have a sense of right and wrong and justice. Granted, the balance is one of the things that they push first and foremost. But that being said, there are plenty of gangs here in the U.S. They do no criminal activity at all. In fact, they're actually pillars of the community. They go out, they help, they fundraise, they help disabled children, ill children. A lot of them work for like St. Joseph Hospital. They don't work there, but they volunteer a lot with those. Those kinds of gangs. It's a gang. It's a group of people doing good. So it's not about do they approve of gangs or not. You got to look at what is the group doing. And the cult orders are the same thing. A cult order, you could literally just call it a gang, a group, a clubhouse. It doesn't matter. A group of people getting together for a cause. Okay. The question is, what's the cause? What's the reason? There are definitely a lot of occult orders, just like a lot of groups out there that do a lot of bad things. Absolutely horrible and atrocious things. I can't count the number of occult order / groups that I have seen that have been arrested for child abuse is a nice way to say it. And in those cases, like I have no sympathy for a human being that does stuff like that. I really do not. Okay. At the same time, yeah, the dragons, in my experience, they're going to focus on that balance. And if there's a group or an order that's trying to throw off that balance, dragons are usually going to try and restore the balance somehow. So if something's out of whack, they're going to work against it to rebalance it. Doesn't matter what it is. They're going to try and rebalance it in some way. So as a dragon magic practitioner, if you're participating in something that is out of balance or out of whack, you're the thing they're going to try and rebalance first. And that can be a very, very rough and bumpy road. And if you abandon the balance, like if you put like some kind of out of whack extreme concept before the balance, you abandon the balance, the dragons will actually walk away from you also. So yeah, that's one of those things. It is a tricky one. And you all know I don't like to talk politics on here, right? And I don't care what side of the fence you are, left, right, or center. There's people who can take it too far, period, right? And honestly, that's one of the things, we have lost that balance. Like I remember growing up, you could be on either side of the fence and have a conversation and you could disagree and you could talk about it and you could share your, well, I think this. And it's like, all right, I get that. That makes sense. But, I kind of value these things and this is my general line of thinking. And it'd be like, well, I can see that. And then you go fishing, you have some drinks, no one's getting in a fight. No one's hitting each other. No one's setting anything on fire. I miss that. I don't know where that's gone. I hope it comes back. I'm starting to be hopeful it's coming back. I am. I'm starting to get hopeful when I go out and talk to people a bit more. I'm starting to see it swing back to that balance and rationality. Maybe it will. I'm hopeful. I try not to get my hopes up, but I'm hopeful. But that's as much as I'm going to go into it because we're not doing politics here. But I do love that balance. You all know I love to talk. I love to share thoughts. I love to have discussions. And I love to talk to people who disagree with me on magic because they may present me with something I haven't thought about. That's one of the reasons I love doing coffee hour. You guys will present me with a question or something I've never thought about. And it opens me up to a whole new line of thinking. Never put yourself in an echo chamber. Never do it. Never do that. So hopefully that answers his question a little bit there. What's this? Immortal Drake take the day off at the same time in the community chat, responding faster than the admin. Yeah, I do that. I do that. Immortal's got my number. I do that. Absolutely. Yeah, it was my birthday week, and I think it's still quicker on the draw than the admin. And yeah, there's a few people who's like, Drake, what the hell are you doing? I like what I do, which is thankful because when you kind of operate your own business, everything falls on you. So, that's nice. Luckily, I do have some admin to help take some pressure off. Thank you guys. You guys are amazing. Bugs up to the admin, everybody. See, Eden, that's why I waited to start Dragon Magic. I agree completely. Good and bad. Whoa, we jumped. I don't know if this is the stream catching up from where we had to reset or if I just talked that much. That's probably just me talking that much. It's an amazing rant. Thank you. Let's see. Let me see if that makes sense. Analogy. Okay, this is you guys going on my first rant. Personally. My personal rant. Can we please take the concept of safety off the pedestal already? Most people probably won't. They really won't. Like everyone who didn't listen to my warnings, right? They got their asses burned. Some of them still paying the price even now, 3 years later. At no point have I belittled them. I told them, what I tell you. I told you so. I have told them that, but I've never belittled them because at the end of the day, you all got free will. And free will is for getting out there, doing stuff, screwing up, making mistakes, right? You can't succeed if you're not willing to fail. I did a whole video on that. And if you're perfectly safe all the time, you're not going to experience life. You got to get out there and try some stuff. Like I know for a fact when I go out in the woods and I pitch a tent and I sleep in the woods, there's a chance a bear's going to get me, maybe a jaguar, a bobcat, or just some crazy old dude on drugs. Anything can happen out there. But I've always viewed safety as an illusion. And I've always viewed that if anyone is going to keep me safe, it's going to be me able to manage the situation to the best of my ability while never forgetting that this world is not safe ever. Where I'm at right now, they don't have earthquakes, but I wouldn't rule out a tsunami. I wouldn't rule out a random unpredicted earthquake. I wouldn't rule out this tree outside this door just suddenly falling in the wind, coming through the window, and knocking my head off on live stream. I don't rule that out. So by that definition, am I safe in this room where I'm shooting this video? Not by that definition. But on other definitions, am I worried about getting attacked by a pack of wild dogs? No. I know this window and this wall is going to keep the wild dogs out. So, you've got that relevance you got to put in there. Let's see, Claude, Drake, in your opinion, what's the youngest age for someone to start practicing magic? That's a tricky one, and that's going to depend partially on what they're practicing and why is my phone blowing up. I'm going to turn it off. Now, why did it lock? Oh God, my phone hates me. There it goes. It does depend. Like if we're talking just general energy work, the ability to work with the arcane senses, I got no issues with it when they're young. The biggest kicker is when they're young, you also got to ask yourself, what are you teaching them as far as to be afraid of, right? If they have issues with monsters in the closet, you're going to have to deal with that also from a magical perspective. perhaps give them a spray bottle of banishing water or something like that. Because you're going to have to work with them. Like I know people who have actually made wands. The entire point of the wand is to direct cleansing or banishing energy, and they've actually taught the kid what this meant so that they could use it if because kids are naturally sensitive. Honestly, their arcane senses are not, they don't need activated. Kids are born wide open. That's honestly why we have the monster in the closet problem, right? So if you teach them to understand these things aren't monsters. They might be thought forms. They might be energetic blobs or something. Don't use the word astral nasty because that's just going to make it sound like a monster again. Think about what you're telling them, right? If you explain it as etheric mud floating, they're going to get that because that's essentially all it is. And you literally can describe that banishing water or that wand as literally the water hose to clean the mud. Or whatever, and that's something they can understand. Get them to understand those concepts at an early age. That's not a bad thing. Now, would I want to start a kid on spell work? No, I would not. There's way too many things that can go sideways if it's not thought through when it comes to spell work. Honestly, there is a lot of things that can go sideways. And kids don't have the doubt and stuff that adults do that hamper our spell work, right? So a kid is a lot more wide open and is actually at risk for things manifesting when they don't intend them to manifest. So I wouldn't get them started on spell work until they're older and they start understanding the repercussions of their actions, right? Now, when that is, I don't know. That's going to be different from kid to kid. I can't give a hard level on it. I know a lot of magicians who say they do not believe people should be doing magic and training magic during puberty because emotions and etheric patterns are all the hell out of whack. Okay, yeah, they're all the hell out of whack. I absolutely agree with that. But I also think that magic should be taught and understood as a tool. And I think that any individual going through puberty, if they're willing to sit and listen and learn life skills that can help them get through that time, let's be honest, that's not an easy time in life for nobody, period, right? If they're willing to sit and learn skills and wisdom to get through that period, fine. But let's be also honest, most people don't want to sit and listen. That's the reason we have so many edgelord phases in that area and so many rebellious phases. So you do have to take the individual into account in there. Like I do know a 10-year-old right now. I honestly think that 10-year-old might be very capable of really good spell work. And I think he has a head on him well enough that he'd have no issues with it. I really do. I don't say that about most 10-year-olds. So that's one of those things you got to take into consideration. Hope that makes sense. I know that was a long one. Thomas also did what you said, cocked down Lilith again after like 8 years or so. I apologize. And she basically started. The time is perceived different for them. Yep, there's probably a blink in the eye for her. Let's see, Eden, look out for a fellow community. Well, it's good. It's good. Community's good to have and good to look out for it. That's why it's there, right? Let's see. Jacket, what makes magic different from magic? They started spelling it different in order to separate it from stage magician magic at one point, just as a way to differentiate it when we're writing in text. That's actually the only thing. Because you have stage magician parlor tricks that is referred to as magic, magic tricks, Penn and Teller. I love Penn and Teller to death. They're some of my favorite magicians, even though Penn's full. I think both of them's atheists, but I know Penn is, and they don't believe in real magic. I don't care. They're great magicians, hands down. They do amazing things. So that K is just to, when you sit down to read it, it's just something that started, I want to say it's like around, it's been a while. It might have started with the Golden Dawn, or it may have started in the 60s, but they just put it in there to differentiate between stage magicians and actual magicians who work with ether and magic. That's the only difference. There's absolutely no reason you can't just spell it Magic. In fact, I'll be honest, spelling it with a K gets really annoying sometimes because everything says I'm spelling it wrong. It's like YouTube does it, my phone does it. Everybody's like, you're spelling it wrong. Look, I know I'm a dumb redneck. I know my spelling sucks, but this is one word I'm not spelling wrong. Because if I spelled it without the K, there's a lot of people who would flip their shit. Even though I don't see it as important, but I do understand that that separator, that one little thing, it does help. So I use it, but that's it. Where was that? Check it. There it is. Yeah, that's what I thought. Crowley's the one who coined it. That is correct. Thank you, Thomas. Um, Interesting. So magic was bogus. I never said magic itself was bogus. That's not what I said. Um, Rainbow. Hey Drake, glad you're back. I'm wondering. I did I go somewhere? I didn't know I went somewhere. Like I did MCH last week, didn't I? I think I did. Yeah, I'm around. We've been doing MCH and we're trying to release weekly videos. Grant you, I missed one. Sorry about that. And of course, we are working on building that community. So if you're missing us, join the community, Rainbow. You'll get tired of me. You will. I pop up way too often over there. I'm told. Um, how do you work with a deity who's obscure and niche? Do your research, find out what you can. Maybe write a hailing right to them. I got a video on hailing rights here. You can even start with basic prayer. Prayer is not just for Christians. You can use prayer. Prayer is used in practically every spiritual practice out there. So you could easily use prayer to start connecting. But then there's also skill sets. Like it's not how do you connect with this deity? There are skill sets. Like you could look into divinations. You could look into working on your arcane senses and then moving into developing evocation skills, those kinds of things. And you can utilize these on any entity, absolutely any entity. I honestly, when I reach out to, I have a simple process I use for contacting entities I've never worked with. I start with a little bit of research, find out what I can. I personally like hailing rights as a great way to get that initial contact. So I'll write a hailing right based on the information I find. And then I will sit and I will spend time meditating in the energy that's been called up through the hailing right. And I will continue to try and get more information through those meditations if I can. I usually like to do that for a week or so, generally speaking. But ultimately, I end up with using evocation to just call them up and actually have a sit down chat with them. If you have an astral sanctum and you're good with sanctum work, you can also have that conversation in your sanctum, which I use that one. That used to be my primary and main way of meeting with entities, but these days I seem to use evocation slightly more, depending on what the case. I think it's partially just because I like actually being up and moving more these days when I'm at a desk job. I actually think that's the big gravitator because you're not doing a whole lot of physical moving when you're doing sanctum work. So any excuse I can to move, I try to use it. I think that's the only reason I've shifted. Um, let's see. Oh, whoa, we jumped again. Crap. See, Rainbow, wondering what you think about the reason entity agrees to help us with magic. I mean, if they do this, why does anyone just use magic? Uh, they have an interest in seeing humanity evolve, if you will. You can use the word evolve. Most entities out there have some interest in seeing us do better. But in doing better, we also have to, answer some hard knocks in life and learn and gain wisdom along with that. If you believe in the concept of ascent and that kind of thing, which from what I've gleaned from most entities, that does seem to be the case. Because I actually did not believe in ascent at all when I started my practice. It was just one of those, yeah, whatever. However, my findings have led me to actually believe in the concept of ascent, and that is ultimately their main motivation. Um, and why doesn't someone just use magic? There's no reason you can't. Honestly, if the only reason you learn evocation to work with entities is to use it as a genie's lamp, and hey, Azazel, will you grant me this? Or hey, Odin, will you grant me this? You're missing the boat. Like you're not even on the pier. That is like the most basic use of evocation, and you're missing the boat because you're not doing anything to better yourself in truth. And yeah, so honestly, the best thing to do is to work with entities and actually learn skill sets yourself. Learn how to do these things yourself and empower yourself. That's one reason, like I said, this channel's on results, self mastery, and self empowerment. Like the religion, the hoopla, I don't really care. If you're getting the results you want, great. And if you can get the results you want through just candle magic or sigil magic and you're happy with it, don't ever contact an entity. There's no one saying you're required to work with an entity ever. Everyone's practice is a little different. Um, so yeah. Now at the same time, depending on how busy your life is, it can be good to have help. Like I do a lot of my own spell work. Most of my spell work is done me. At the same time, do I request assistance from entities? Yes, but I'm also an individual. I don't worship. I don't bend the knee to any entity. I view them as friends and allies. Period. And I'm not going to ask a friend to do everything for me. I'm not going to do it. Um, rebalancing can be very painful. Very. Um, Nope, we jumped. Crap. Okay. See, Eden, I'm learning this. Yeah, I mean, you gotta keep things relative as best you can. Don't be stupid with it, but at the same time, you got to get out there and live life, right? You absolutely got to get out there and live life. Like many in the community who's heard some of the crazy things I've done, it's like, how could you have done that? And it's like, look, I would rather have a full life than a long, boring nothing. Seriously, that's where I'm at. That's why, even as I'm getting older, like I've got people, it's like, Drake, why are you trying to push yourself and get back into fight condition again? And it's like, take some time, enjoy growing older, slow down. I don't want to slow down. I want to do things. I want to get out there. If I have to slow down because of, I don't know, my leg falls off, fine. But until then, I'm going to give it all I got to get out there and have some fun. I am going to be willing to jump into things that make me uncomfortable because I want to have life experiences. Uh, um, let's see. Let's see. Taylor, I taught my stepdaughter how to do basic cleansing with incense and intention, and she thought something was in the room. There you go. See, best way to handle it. Then you don't have to worry about checking. You empower the child. That's like with my goddaughter. That was the entire thing. My entire life was empower her, make her self-sufficient, make her self-aware, empower her, make her understand her value to herself and understand the value of her fellow man. I was I was more proud of her than I ever was of me, hands down. She took those lessons to heart and embodied them. Um, let's see. Whoa, we jumped again, man. Um, where are we? Let's see, Aylin. Trying to have those senses come on full blast around age 20. My folks, thankfully, our Christian practitioners taught what they knew and would have been royally effed up without that. Yeah, I can see that. I tend not to use the spelling with the K because if people can't figure out from the context of my message, I'm not talking about stage magic. Well, ain't my fault. They are dumb ones. Yeah, I mean, that's fair. That's fair. That is absolutely fair. Although I will say, in my case, because I refuse to do anything D&D on this channel, but many of the community know I play D&D. It is kind of helpful to have a separator because I'll be honest, the amount of absolute annoyance I get from people who are trying to make and like D&D magic is real magic and this is how magic works, and yeah, that annoys the piss out of me. Don't get me wrong, if I could ever figure out how to fling a fireball or something, that would be great. But in all honesty, if D&D magic is real, um, I'll take prestidigitation. Just something to clean the house instantly would be, that would just make my life right there. I'd be happy. I hate cleaning. um, and a lot of people want complacency, not growth. Yeah, that is a problem. That is a problem. So that is a problem. And you know what? You can't change that. I had a discussion with a friend earlier this week. If somebody does not want to do something, you cannot make them. I tell, people ask how I've had a successful marriage for 25 freaking years. And in a lot of ways, I'm really surprised myself. I'm not an easy person to live with. I can't be. Yet my wife adores me. Okay, great. Awesome. I lucked out. But one thing that I knew when dating, not marriage, just dating, and this is because, I've seen a lot of crap relationships before then. You can't change a person. Who they are is who they are. If you look at a person, whether you're considering dating them or considering to marry them, and you tell yourself that they're perfect if I could just change this, you done screwed up. You done screwed up. Either you love them exactly as they are with no alterations, or you don't. That's it. You can't make people change. They have to do that themselves. They have to want to do that themselves. Period. Like I got a lot of people on here who have noticed, I've been toning up, I've been getting better, and people's asking what I'm doing and all this. And, you know, many of you know I eat carnivore. I don't necessarily preach, everybody should go out there and eat carnivore. I don't know your circumstances. I'm going to do what's right for me, right? Um, you can't make people do anything. You can't. And that's going to be that through life. Some people will complain and bitch and moan and blame everyone for their circumstances but themselves. And odds are you're never going to change that. Best I can say is, don't hate them. Be respectful as you can with them. Because who knows? One day you may be the one that has the conversation that snaps them out of their funk and they become an amazing person. And who knows? The next great world leader. Who knows? I don't know. But do seek to surround yourself and your friend circle with people who lift you up, embolden you to take charge of your life and to own your life and take responsibility for your mistakes. Those are the people I surround myself with every day. And I love when they call me out on my bullshit because that's where I've gotten where I'm at. And I'm quick to call them out. Surround yourself with people that you actually admire and want to be like. Do your best to do it. And I'm not saying that I don't know what your goals are in life. So whatever that be that. You know what I mean? Let's see here. Thomas, I sort of envy people who are content and complacent. I don't. I mean, I guess I can kind of see it, but like, I have had the opportunity to sit, do nothing, and not want to really strive. And I hated it. I absolutely despised it. Like, the concept of true retirement terrifies me because at that point, just put me in the grave, right? I honestly don't think I am ever going to truly retire. I don't. I would love to get working Dragon Mystic to a point where it almost runs itself and everything. But I would never step back because I want to be involved. I want to do things. I want to be active. Maybe it'd give me time to do things where I could go out in the woods or travel and do things to get more footage or to do different content or maybe gathering kind of events for the community. I don't know. But I never want to stop doing. I never want to get to that point. And I never want to get to the point where I don't got a goal. That sounds horrible to me. Like if you literally said, Drake, you have nothing left to learn, that's an awful life to me. Just screw that. No, screw that. So I don't understand that. Thomas, can you teleport in D&D? That is all I would want. Yeah. There's a couple other little spells in their system that do that. Let's see. I just want to say you guys are awesome. Love that our community is so polite, supportive, and helpful to one another. That is a true statement, Immortal. I have, for those who don't know, I know the community knows, but this last week was my birthday. So I've sort of attempted to step back and take it easy this week. My wife even took the week off. So there was one day we completely went out of town and enjoyed it. But I was still stalking when I could. I would poke in and look, and it was so wonderful to see everyone try to help each other, to try and share information and answer questions where they could. It was so amazing. Even last night, we had a member who, I won't out them, but they thought they might have saw something in the sky, and they didn't want to call it a UFO, but technically it's UFO. They don't know what it was. They checked flight plans. They couldn't find anything like that. And they're sharing their description. And, even they themselves are coming up with even with all this that, I can't figure it out, there's the possibility it could still be this or this. And it was a fascinating little conversation. Does it mean it's an alien? Absolutely not. We all know that. But it was a wonderful conversation. No one poked fun. No one made jokes. It was great. Absolutely respectful. I love that shit. And that's what I want. And that's, honestly, if I have a goal for Working Dragon Mystic, it is to build that community and get it to where we can have those respectful conversations. Even if we don't agree, we can keep it respectful and have an exchange of ideals that might, even if you disagree with this concept, it might inspire you and send you over here. It has nothing to do with this, but it sent you here now. And now you're researching. But every one of us is researching, growing in some way. That is what I'd love to see. If that is the only thing I leave behind on this earth, I live a good life. That's just my 2 cents. HBD. I don't know what HBD is. I don't really do well with internet abbreviations. Drake retire. yeah, I don't really see that. Maybe then we can get that dragon. You guys are really on about that dragon cookbook. Oh, Lordy. You know what? I'm actually half tempted to, like, me and Jay got really crazy and busy, but when she gets unbusy, I'm wanting to get back we're wanting to do a Working Dragon Mystic cookbook. We actually are. And we're wanting to not only put recipes in there, but actually put in magically what this recipe could be used for, right? As much as you all bug me about a cookbook, when that cookbook's released, it better become a top seller. It better. Seriously. It's giving me so much grief. It better. Oh, I love you guys, though. I do. Will, happy birthday, Drake. Hey, thank you, mate. Thank you. Another year around the sun. I have to keep asking my wife how old I am because I never count. Rick, I have no idea which of the days of the week was your birthday because you were on the community every day. Yep, it was. Even the day we went out of town, I popped in the morning and At one point, we were waiting on a ferry to cross over, and I managed to get signal for a minute or three, and I checked it, and I think I answered a question while I did it. So yeah, you're right. You're right. I like what I do. I like my community. I like my peoples. And I like helping people, weirdly, as grumpy as I am. Like, I honestly could see me being that cranky old guy on the front porch with a shotgun screaming, "Get off my grass," because, yeah. But at the same time, I'm such a social person that it's weird. I'm a weird contradiction on that. And I do love helping people. Jackie, hey, welcome. Let's see, it's been so long before finding the space since I had a respectful conversation that was differing views from somewhat regular basis. Yeah, and I mean we're on the, people always say that thing, be the change you want to see, and that's kind of, I think maybe that's what we're doing. We are being that change we want to see, right? I know for a fact, I'm not going to out anybody, don't worry, but I know for a fact there's so many differing views in our community, right? Religious, political, everything. It's just all across the board. So many different views. Yet people can get in there, have a conversation, stay respectful, stay on topic, and still help each other, right? I think that's great. And I want to see that grow. That's amazing. And that's one reason I'm looking forward to. We got a lot of things that we're getting ready to, like, I am like, people's like, I need to slow down with the transition and breathe. I can't do that. I want to get the transition done so that we can get to some of these amazing things that we're wanting to do. Like, we are wanting to do community live solstice events if we can, and equinox events. We're wanting to do more workshops, and we're wanting to talk about integrating live meditations, those kinds of things. We're wanting to do a lot more things with the community, and things that where we can help people, better themselves. So I got to get the transition done so we can get to those things. I'm not somebody who can sit down when there's something to do. If I'm to relax, I have to have the things done. That's just me. It annoys my wife. I'll think of something. It's like, you know what I need to do? And she's like, yeah. And her thought, we're going to do it in 30 minutes, an hour, maybe later today. Hell, sometimes she can do it tomorrow. Not me. I got to pop up and do it. Immortal going for the cookbook throat. Yeah, he is. He is. Of course, let's be honest. I was a smart aleck how I answered the question last night. Was that last night? I popped up. You guys, Drake, what are we doing a cookbook? And I was like, yeah, Drake, why aren't you doing a cookbook? When are you going to do that? Oh, yeah, that's kind of how it comes across. Like, there's a lot of people who do call me grumpy. And I can be, that is true. You guys see me in small doses, but, well, some of you, like Bourne has actually talked to me for 24 hours before. Him and I started a call and just never shut up. But yeah, I can be grumpy. But I like to think even grumpy me is a nice person. I'm only a real ass if you deserve it. Like, you do something, yeah. Let's see, Taylor, have you done work with a Michael? Yeah, I love working with Michael. Actually, Michael was one of the angels. Like, I knew for certain was going in the evocation course. Had to. I absolutely adore working with Michael. So yeah. How about something for Lucifer altar? Ever since I got delivered, every time I look at it, Michael's name pops in my mind. That, not surprised at all. This concept of Lucifer and Michael disliking each other, it's pop fiction. They get along perfectly fine. I work with them all the time, both of them at the same time. So that doesn't surprise me at all. I actually hear this a lot. Individuals who do work with Lucifer and or Michael tend to have this because, for whatever reason, especially in the last want to say 15, 20 years, this is something I've been hearing more and more and more about. It's almost like Michael and Lucifer are working really hard to tear down the old image of this battle between them concept. Um, that's not to say they've never had their differences. That's not to say that. But it's not this battle of good and evil that people depict it as either. So I'm not surprised by that. And actually, one of the things I've actually contemplated doing, y'all, and you may think I'm crazy for this, but I actually considered doing a video series where I take like the Ten Commandments or the Seven Deadly Sins, and instead of looking at them religiously, look at them philosophically. Because a lot of these things, like we roll our eyes at this stuff and laugh about it and blah blah blah. But if you look at it philosophically, you know how like in the Mage Minded series, we look at honor, we've looked at loyalty, stuff like that. If we look at it philosophically, there is certain wisdoms in there. If you look at it as wisdoms, not religious doctrine, dictate, must do kind of concept. And I actually thought about doing a video series like that. It's really piqued my interest. I keep shelving it because I'm like, I'm just gonna piss everybody off. But it keeps popping in my brain. So I may end up doing it. And part of me even wants to compare it through the dragon lens. Actually, like look at it as the dragons would look at it specifically. Sit down and speak with the dragons about those two sets. And, all right, guys, what do you think of this? And present it in that way. Because there's a lot of things, like just because, well, it don't matter if it's Christianity, Wicca, it doesn't matter. If it's got a religious draping on it, people just give it shit, run away, and ignore it. And the Havamal is what really got me thinking on this, because technically the Havamal, a lot of people do take as a religious text if you're a heathen, right? But we've done a reading of the Havamal, and we know it's a book of wisdom from Odin. And we sat down, me, Jade, and Halloween. We read through it together. We actually discussed it and had round tables about it. You can find those here on the channel. I encourage you to look at it. And you break it down, and anyone could use the wisdom in the Havamal outside religion. It's just good sense, right? So that got me to thinking, could you apply it? See, I haven't actually sat down and started to, look at these things over yet. But I think I'm going to. I really do, because I think there's something to be said for actually, have we turned ourselves off to wisdom that's out there and we've just shunned it because of a bias? Have we? Because if we have, that don't seem good to me. They don't. So since I would be in the category of somebody who shut the door on that, clearly, because you all know I done went and left the church. I was like, nope, I'm done. Bye. I'm going to put my own thought to the test against me. And I'd like to share those findings with you all as I peruse it through wisdom and philosophy instead. Does that make sense? Am I making sense? Or do I sound crazy? A cookbook by you would be amazing. Y'all ain't even have my food. Okay, some of you have. Some of you have. Let's see, Thomas, have you had anything in Magic that has spooked you? Hell yeah, I have. There's plenty of things in Magic that spooked me. Pretty much, let's go with Cliff Off, right? I can't think of a single area of the Cliff Off that did not go sideways in some way, that did not raise concerns and prickly hairs on the neck. And then some of them was a full-on, just you need new pants situation, not going to lie. There was a time in Dragon Magic too where Coral Legger is actually the one that done this to me. I forget the lesson we were working on. I want to say we were dealing with what's referred to as cross-elemental dragons. I think we've talked about them on this channel. I don't know. But so I'm suddenly in a deep expanse. It's dark, like no light is reaching here at all. But I do know it's underwater. That's easy to pick up on. And it's just nothing at all. And then all of a sudden, just this eye, this giant freaking Like my first thought is shit, Cthulhu. Oh God, I'm going to die. Like it scared the Jesus out of me because it was like I had gotten so close I couldn't see squat, and it's right there in my face, and you could just watch that pupil just focus. Yeah, yeah, I freaked. I'm not gonna lie. That completely broke my meditation. I snapped out of it. I knew. It wasn't Cthulhu, for those wondering. Even though, yes, that was my first thought. Granted, it was partly pop culture thought, but that's my first thought. It actually ended up being Yarmungandr. So we all had a good laugh at Drake on that one. But yeah, so yeah, there's plenty of stuff that has definitely spooked me. But I don't let fear control me either. Like if something spooks me, I try to face it. I want to get to know it. I want to understand why does it spook me. Like in that case, it was more of a startled situation. I wouldn't expect something that big because the only thing I could freaking make out was the eyeballs. Like what the so yeah, there's definitely something there. And there's plenty that spooks me. Like I've been in haunted situations that, they spook me. I've told you all, hands down, there have been haunted houses. We've gone dark. We're going through it. I'm working, searching through the basement. I've been in the basement 4 or 5 times that night. For whatever reason, this time I go down. I walk into a big old giant spider web. I have arachnophobia. I have learned to deal with spiders. I no longer freak out by spider webs. I still don't like them. But at this particular event, I was not that enlightened in my life. So what did I do? Did I say, spider web? Stop it. No, I did not. I freaked out and ran out of that basement and the house like Ace Ventura in his second movie when he thought a bat was in his hair. That's exactly how I reacted. We all have our moments. The question is, what do you do with your moment? What is your takeaway from your moment? And me, I try to work on myself. I try to work on my fears. If I find something that scares me, I try to find a way to be comfortable near it and around it. Just the way I view it. I'm not saying that's right for everyone, but that is how I view it. And apparently everyone would love me to actually do that series. Okay, cool. Good to see that. And okay, you like the dragon lens on it too. Cool. Sounds fascinating. Piss everybody off, Drake. I enjoy stuff that most people don't. Yeah, I've heard, controversial stuff gets good clicks. So this would be one time something I want to do. Might actually meet the, hey, this helps you get clicks thing. Because, yeah, I you all know I won't trade my integrity for clicks. This sounds fascinating. Good to know. You're making it sound better and better. Okay, cool. Well, we got that. And there's the clocks, Immortal. Okay. Eden Drake, your initial approach to the cliff off was exacerbated the, oh God, my literacy problems. Exasperated the scare factor a lot. LOL. Well, no, because my first initial, let's be honest, my first initial toe in the cliff off was the feces hit the revolving oscillator 5 times over. That didn't scare me because, yes, there was like a 2 to 3 year crap show. Absolutely, hands down, not going to deny it. I'm not even going to make it sound nice. That didn't scare me. Crap shows don't scare me. Understanding what caused it, that was my prime concern of the crap show. That was my prime concern. And by the time the crap show was over, I did understand what caused it, right? That never scared me. So I actually still was not prepared for as much as the creep scare factor when I actually path worked fully through the cliff off, even after that initial, what the crap? And that was 100% user error. That was entirely on me. I do not blame the cliff off. I blame the idiot. And I was that idiot. Did that experience make me a better magician? I think so. Definitely gave me a great deal of wisdom of what might not should be done again. But weirdly, that kind of stuff's not the stuff that scares me. Let's see, Immortal, Terrafon, and Core Allegra did that to me. So you know what I'm talking about a little bit. All right, we got to get off here. Yep, okay, I'm 8 minutes over. Let's get these last little bits. Is it bad that the scarier it sounds, the more I want to go for it? Not really. No, I'm kind of that same way. While everybody else is running this way, I'm generally the idiot going that way. So you're in good company. I'll be right there with you, mate. If we do end up getting back to the Appalachian and retiring, Matthias, me and you might have to go out there and kick some bushes and bang some trees, look for some cryptids together. Your first reaction was shit, Cthulhu. Well, okay, I love sci-fi, I love pop culture, I love horror novels and stuff. So yes, my brain's going to draw on the things I know, and so yeah, it makes sense. And if y'all haven't noticed, I tend to be highly expressive and often use comedy to diffuse situations. So yeah, I even diffuse myself with it. Never ask my wife to show you the Doom recording. Don't. I still can't believe she recorded that. All right, everybody, you have a wonderful one. I think we got everything signed up. Yep. Have a wonderful night. Yep, 100% bored. Okay, cool. All right, everybody, have a great evening and a great week. I'm going to get off here. I go back to normal standard operating procedure this week, and I'm really looking forward to it. I got a few things I'm going to be tinkering with my challenge for the 6-month challenge. I will be sharing that with you all in the community probably tomorrow, so as well as I don't forget. All right, till next time, everybody, take care. Have a wonderful evening and a wonderful week.